Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our live Women on Identity Conversations in Midlife. Thank you for being here tonight. I'm so excited. So for those who may be joining for the first time, my name is Lana Jean Teyes, and I'm the founder of Worthy and Wild here on Substack. And Worthy and Wild is a space where we explore identity, self-leadership, health, purpose, community, and just what it means to create a life that feels aligned with who we are and who we're becoming. Hi, Sophia. So if you follow me on Substack, you probably are familiar with my Women on Identity series that grew out of a simple realization. So many women are navigating profound changes in their lives, yet often feel like they're doing it alone. And so through those articles and conversations, women from around the world started sharing their stories. And that really, hi, Rhonda, um, that really just kind of started blowing me away. Their wisdom, their struggles, the lessons they've learned along the way. And obviously not because they have everything figured out, right? But because there is something powerful about hearing the truth of other women's experiences. We were talking about this, the three of us, before we got online. And tonight's conversation is called Rebuilding After the Life You Expected. And so, because sometimes life unfolds exactly as we planned, and sometimes it doesn't, right? Sometimes relationships end, dreams change, children grow up, our careers shift, health changes, right? And suddenly we're standing in a life we never imagined we'd be living. And we ask things like, what happens next? How do we rebuild? How do we find ourselves again? Hi, Martine. And just how do we create something meaningful from what remains? And I just feel like those are a lot of the questions we're going to be exploring tonight. And so I'm really grateful to be joined by two incredible women, Alice and Karina. Thank you both for being here. I want to start with you both telling a little bit about yourself, the season of life that you're in, and about what brought you to Substack and what you create there. And we'll start with Alice, and then Karina, you can go after.
So yeah, what brought me to Substack? Well, a friend of mine who's a writer in the UK kept on saying you must go on Substack because I'd written my memoir. It's called I'm Alice: Break Up, Break Down, Break Through. It was sort of a really huge life-changing event, and she kept saying you must do it, you must do it. And I was like, oh no, because I'm not really a writer, And I thought it was really just for writers then. And so yeah, and so she kept encouraging me, and then eventually I came on it last year, and then started properly doing it this year. And I absolutely love it. I just find it's a way where I can sort of really express who I am. And I don't really have to worry about like other social media. I just feel like I feel at home. I think that's what it is. I just feel at home, and I feel like for once, actually, I can just because I do a lot of journaling. I've been journaling forever, a lot, and it's just like there's lots of pieces in there that I thought, oh, actually, I could share that, because I just really want to support women going through change because I had a life very confronting and very disorientating, and I had to bring myself through that, and I knew I had to have a whole new life, and which I managed. Thankfully, I live in Bali in Indonesia, and yeah, I wrote a book about it, and now in my journal I'm sharing all the things, all the creativity, because creativity is so important for our transition into our new lives, and connection was something that I really didn't have going through this huge change, and feeling misunderstood. So that's why it's really good to write and to journal, to have this private space where you can fully express yourself. And so I'm seeing sort of Substack as that kind of space that I can express myself. And, I don't feel judged, and I just feel I'm of service. I'm sharing me. And if people resonate with that and want support, and yeah, I can connect with that. I want people to feel more connected, because I think in this world of social media, there's a lot of fake stuff. And I think we need, for our own truth, to be authentic, be who we are. We're perfect, imperfectly perfect. That's what I say, just as we are.
Absolutely. I love that.
Yeah.
Karina, what
And
about you?
yeah, I only joined Substack a few months ago. I needed a place where I could journal because I was finally ready to write about like all the changes I'd been through with empty nester and divorce and changing career and just all the things that I changed. So I had started just a Google Doc and then kind of left it. And I can't remember where I heard about Substack. And so I tried that and it's just really cool. So Alice, like you were just saying, like people are just authentic. And yeah, you don't have like the same I don't know, the same feelings you get when people react on like regular social media. It's
Mhm.
just more authentic and you like I mean finding like the community here that Lana you've built and then like all the other women I've been able to see and follow like I'm not the only one who has gone through a lot of different things in my life being in my 50s. So, yeah, it's becoming more freeing to like put things on Substack and to finally write about all the changes I've gone through.
Yeah, that's awesome. I
Mhm.
yeah, one of the things that really stuck with me while reading both of your stories is that neither of you, you didn't set out to reinvent your lives necessarily.
No.
Neither of you, like, woke up one morning, at least from what I read, like,
Yeah. Mm-mm.
what you didn't wake up one morning and think, I think I'll start over," right? Life
Nope.
changed first, and then the rebuilding came, and I think that's true for so many women, like, we
Mhm.
imagine this glorious, like, reinvention as something we choose, and I think, you know, o often it begins with those circumstances that we never would have
Mhm.
chosen at all, and, I think that's just what makes us so resilient.
Mhm.
Um, so when you guys look back now,
Mhm.
was there a moment when you realized the life you expected was no longer the life you were going to have? I mean, was there a obviously there's like the moment, but was
The
there anything
moment.
kind of like
Mhm.
an inkling, um, Karina and then Alice?
Um, kind of. So, like my youngest like had started college and then so empty nesters. Um and then the next month is when my now ex-husband said, I feel like I'm going to do something stupid, meaning that he was already talking to another woman and it led into a lot that took place over a year and I don't know why I put up with it for a year. But it was probably like within that year, I don't know. Because of course I tried to change him and tried to, not have all the things happen that were happening. But it probably still took me at least 6 months into that year to finally start going, well, what if I live somewhere else? What if I wasn't here anymore? What if? Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, it took me a while, yeah, a half of that year to try to fix before I'm like, well, fixing isn't working. I need to figure out what I
Yeah.
need to do next. So that was hard. Like 2 years ago, like right now, this time of year was when all that was going on.
Oh, wow. Yeah. What about you, Alice?
Yeah, well, mine did actually happen literally in a moment. That's why I said to you, it's very sort of movie-esque, really. So I was happily married with my husband. I've been married for 5 years, and we've been going through the adoption process to adopt two children.
Mm,
And we've been approved, and they were amazing. And I was so excited to be a mother and to bring them to our home. And the home is all set up for them to come. And basically, the day before we were supposed to meet them, my husband woke me up early in the morning before going to work and sort of woke me up, tapped me, sort of woke me up and said, I don't want you or the children. And I was just like, I wasn't fully awake. So I was like, this is a whole new reality. And
yeah.
yeah, we had a little chat He said he had feelings for somebody at work, and basically he left. I knew who the person was. He said she had stayed at our house at the end when I was on an adoption course. And yeah, my life literally split then.
Wow.
And yeah, so I was just, went into sort of coming to terms with that shocking news. And he just left and went to work and said, I would have made a good mother. So it was
Wow.
just out of this world, out of this world. Yeah.
Heartbreaking. Yeah, while your stories are similar but different, right? I still think that many women can relate to that moment, not necessarily, and everybody goes through something different, not necessarily because of divorce or a specific event like you guys went through, but I think because I don't know, like, it just seems like there comes a point where reality and expectations just obviously part ways. Sometimes it's severed, right?
Yeah.
And the future, we imagine is no longer the future we're living. I just think, man, that is really a difficult thing to come to terms with. Um, your stories really touched me, reading them. Um, what did you have to grieve that surprised you? And I don't mean like just in terms of people or relationships, but like dreams, plans, identities, versions of yourself. What did you grieve that surprised you? Who'd like to
Um,
take that one?
I know. I'm trying to think. I think for me it was and then it gets me like all emotional because like we lived in that house for 23 years and I expected my grandkids like to come see us at the house and like and we'd have a house full of people. Um and so that's like even now obviously
Yeah.
one thing I'm still, grieving now. Not that my any of my kids, have kids yet. One did just get engaged though. So
Aw, congratulations.
thanks. But yeah, it's like
Yeah,
it's that part of what, I expected to come next in my life, even if it wasn't going to be for 5 or 10 years. I still expected that to happen.
yeah. And yours is pretty fresh. I don't know how long it's been for you, Alice.
Oh yeah, mine's been 12 years. I mean,
Yeah.
I couldn't actually, I wouldn't have been able to speak like this had, because, I only put my book out 3 years ago. It took me 8 years to put my book out because, I mean, that's just the beginning of the story. A lot more happens from there, a lot more
Yeah.
drama, should I
Right.
say. So, I would not be able to speak about it like yourself because, it's taking me time because
Yeah,
there's parts of my story that are so important that I feel it's a universal experience that people getting locked up in psychiatric wards. I mean, that's what happened to me basically,
Mhm.
and it's happened to women for generations. So I really, because I had a spiritual awakening, a spiritual opening, or whatever, life death experience, and then consequently, because I wasn't being normal, what do you do with people like this? We need to go and take them to doctors and get them. So eventually, I got locked up. But I was very lucky because I was only there for a few weeks, and they threw me off the section, and so that's why I feel I need to share it because of
Mhm.
sharing my story. So many other people have told me this has happened to them, and I've supported a few people that have gone through that, and because I've
wow.
been through it, and whether it's a spiritual awakening or getting sectioned in a psychiatric ward. I don't know if you do that in the US, but we do that in the UK. And then once you get sectioned, you'll often get sectioned over and over again and drugged. So it's a really important topic to talk about because
Right.
it's people are so shamed by their experience. Obviously I was very shamed, and that's why I didn't want to share my book because I was so shamed about what happened to me. I thought that must be something wrong with me because why did that happen to me? Um, After being approved for 2 years that you're a perfectly good person and mentally well and can bring up two children, we're going to give you that that power
Right.
to have the responsibility, and then next minute you're locked up in a psychiatric ward being drugged and ignored and not being supported. So
Yeah.
that's why I feel that was my gift to the world, that I would share my truth so other people wouldn't feel so alone, who have been through that experience, and also would give an insight to people going through dramatic experiences, and how can we support them better? How can we, instead of kind of, oh, I don't really know what to say to them, oh, just leave them alone, instead of actually just sitting with them, just being with them, even if you don't know what to say, just to be present, just to, feel that support, because I know it's very difficult, and obviously all circumstances are very difficult. I know that, and yeah, it's.
Wow. Yeah. Talk about an identity shift.
Mhm.
And I think we really underestimate that identity grief, right?
Yeah.
Like, um, it's real and it's harsh. I think,
Mhm.
and we're not just grieving a person like you guys are talking about. Like, this is a whole, Karina, yeah, both of you,
Yeah.
we're grieving the life we thought we'd have. Um, I don't know. I just feel like the version of
Could
ourselves.
have had.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, and then, it's a future we spent years imagining, and then boom, rug just pulled out. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, so in the middle of all that uncertainty,
Mhm.
what helped you stay connected to yourself? What has helped you? What's helped you find your footing? I know you touched on it a little bit, Karina,
Mhm.
but um, what's helped you stay connected? And we'll have Alice go first and then Karina.
Okay.
Alice is frozen.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna give it to you. See, this is the joy of live.
Right.
So, I'm gonna have you go first then, Karina. So what helped you stay connected to yourself or find your footing? It's like a work in progress, right? I don't think
Oh,
it's ever
right.
something. Yeah.
Right. And yeah, it is still fresh. It's only been 2 years. Okay, but during that time, that year-long thing with my husband, we opened up our marriage. And so the the guy I connected with the most, who is now my partner, I mean, he's the one who's helped me stay grounded because he's such a great person. He asked me the hard questions.
Yeah.
Um, helps me remain positive because he's such a positive person too. Um, so really, it's like all credited to him to help me through it all, like a lot. Like the other day, he said he said something like, "I'm probably the one you've cried with the most in your life," and I'm like, "Well, yeah."
Yeah. But that's nice to have somebody,
Hmm.
to keep you connected. Um, what about you, Alice? Did you hear the question?
Sorry, I'm just having to charge my phone. Talk about being live. So
No worries, no worries.
me,
So I'm not sure if you heard the question, but it was like in the middle
sorry.
of all that uncertainty, what helped you stay connected to yourself or helped you find your
Again.
footing? Do you need me to repeat it?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, for me, I was really lucky. I had some people close to me that could support me. And then I would say journaling was an absolute godsend. I just wrote
Mhm.
and wrote, and I didn't stop. My friend
Hmm.
of mine said to me, Alice, write everything down because that's your evidence of this happening to you. And so I did. And that's sort of the basis of the book, really. Also, I thought I was going to die. I didn't want any medical intervention. And I literally sang mantra all night long to keep me in my body. And I'd been singing the mantra for the children to bring them into my life. And then actually, it became my mantra to save me and support me. So, singing and using the voice has been a really powerful tool to express, whether it's chanting or humming or growling, or like say if you're in a lot of pain, if you like make a
Right.
sound, it like soothes you in a way, groaning kind of sound, but it's almost because by making sound, by speaking our truth, and that's so important. That's why
Yeah.
women, we need to speak.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. I think, yeah, like, and one of the thing, I notice over and over in women's stories, it's that healing it really we don't ever have the answers. And it's like it starts with that one thing, like Karina, your connection with your partner, right? Or the walk, the journal, like you said, Karina, making sure we have friends and connections, creative practice. I think that's what everybody that I talk to, why we go to Substack, right? We have that creative outlet and the conversation and the community that we need. And just something that helps us hear ourselves again, I think is so important that you guys both touched on. What what did rebuilding actually look like for you guys? I know you've touched on things here and there, because
Mhm.
I think sometimes people think that they imagine rebuilding as this one big courageous decision, and, sometimes it is that, right? But my guess is that it was a lot of smaller things too along the way, so if you guys could share a little bit about what that rebuilding looked like for you, Alice, and then Karina.
Sure. For me, I mean, obviously, I had to get my health back. I was in shock for all the other things that happened to me. Never mind, the grief and the husband and everything.
Right.
So I did Ayurveda. So I found this Ayurvedic doctor, and after obviously, having lots of drugs and I was locked up, for a couple of weeks, I wanted to cleanse my body. So we went through this whole Ayurvedic philosophy and what to eat and balancing the body, and so I did a lot of walking. Nature, I think, is a huge healer, and having your feet on the ground and trees. There's so
Mhm.
much beauty in nature. I think it really fills up your well of your cup of joy.
Yeah,
It's so.
I agree.
I'm looking out at trees. And that's why I love Bali so much, because it's so full of nature. And I think nature, when we connect to nature and the trees, it's just so life giving. So it's like finding these ways to feel alive again,
Yeah.
because I a lot had been removed out of me. It's almost like I had this sort of spiritual experience. It's almost like my life had to begin again, and that was my job to do it. And I was so determined. I was like, no one's ruining my life. I'm going to live the best life I can. I know I got to get my health better,
Right.
but I had a dream that when I got better or well enough, I was going traveling. And so I thought about all the places that I could go, and I just knew that by doing that, I could travel through my emotional landscape. That I couldn't deal with everything all at once, because I'd already had
Right.
many other things that I was now dealing with that were more immediate. So yeah, that's what I did. Continue to journal, take photographs, meet new people. How people live in different countries, such simpler lives,
Yeah,
and yeah, connection.
that's awesome. So what did rebuilding look like for you, Karina? Or what does it look like
What is it looking like?
in real time?
I know. Um, well, so when I knew we were like we didn't know we were going towards divorce, but we knew we were going towards something. And I had moved like all my things from the bedroom down to the basement. I was basically living in the basement. But the boyfriend, now, partner, um, he's like, why don't you just come stay with me? Or why don't we to find a place together? So a few months later, that's what we did. And so moving from the small rural town I was in for 23 years,
Yeah,
actually not that far away, but it's a bigger um, city. It's a townhouse. It's not a house with a backyard like I used to have. It's 2 miles from the foothills. So I get out and yes, do a lot of walking, and I can still go paddle boarding and like all those things that I've always done outside, but I'm in a different area. So all my walking trails are new. All my
Mhm.
just going and sitting outside is new. So, that's part of it.
Right.
That so I worked in schools for 30 years, and then during that last year, um when we were, figuring out what are we doing? Are we going to divorce? What are we doing? Moving in with the boyfriend. That was like that fall of that school year, and nobody knew anything was going on. Like I didn't say anything to anybody I worked with, nothing.
Wow.
And so we like our divorce was official that December, and I announced it to the staff like as we were going into Christmas break, because I'm like, I need you to not put Mrs. with my name anymore. It needs to be Ms. And like everybody was like shocked. Um, but along with that, part of part of all that too was realizing I don't fit in the job I was in anymore. And so I resigned from
Mhm.
that at the end of that school year. And then without another job lined up. So along with the divorce and moving in with somebody else, moving to a different city, resigned from my job, no future job
Wow.
as backup. Um, and I did, so I got a full-time job like 6 months later, um, which I love now. It's still in education, but it's not in schools, and
Yeah.
that's been a change,
Great.
you know. Um, I was Catholic. I was raised Catholic. I quit Catholicism. Um, there's a lot of things, um,
Mhm.
but finding faith in different ways though, instead of
Yeah.
what I
Yes.
had grown up with, and even how I raised my daughters. Um, yeah, and just finding faith
Mhm.
differently has been part of the journey also. That's
I
still
love.
fresh.
Yeah. Yes. I love that because I think you both are a testament to, when something like that happens and we make those, it's this big, for you guys, it was like huge,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it leads to all these, we don't think of it in the moment, but it
Mm-hmm.
it leads to all, that one decision leads to another decision that leads to another a
Yeah.
conversation that leads to another
Mm-hmm.
boundary to leads to
Mm-hmm.
another act of courage. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I just think, yeah, again, women are so resilient, we figure it out, just we have our own, each of us has our own way and our own
Mhm.
pace. And I don't know, I
Mm-hmm.
love hearing that, your stories. So what have you discovered about yourself that you never would like, so this is a really good segue. I didn't even mean for this, but what have you discovered about yourself that you never would have discovered if life had stayed the same?
Hmm. I say if I start,
Well, okay.
I think part of
Yeah.
discovering is me. Like I can do things on my own. I can do things alone. I can make decisions on my own. I can do financial stuff on my own.
Mhm,
That's like a huge thing too, you know? Because, yeah, it was always my husband who did everything, and I was kind of involved, but not always involved. But now I have
mhm,
to be because those are all my decisions.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were empowered. I think
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's great. What
Yeah.
about you, Alice? What did you discover about yourself?
Well, I discovered, oh my goodness, I discovered so much. Well, I discovered that I had a new purpose in life, and that whatever happened to me
Mhm,
wasn't meant for me. And as much as I wanted that so dearly, to be a mother to those children, that wasn't my path. And
right.
and I learned that there's other ways that I can be of service, and to like writing my books and things, and talking to people, and sharing my story. So I learned that there was other ways of making an impact. And And also, I learned a lot about myself. I learned that, yes, I mean, obviously, I have been single in my life. I have had a couple of long relationships where, it's like, I can be single, I can survive well, and I can also do dating too. We don't have many men in Bali, but you know, but yeah, I can, I can direct my life, and I can find the joy and happiness within myself. And yeah, I mean, it's different, like living in another world. I say another world, so it's not another world, is it? It's just another country. It feels like another world.
Yeah.
And it's like creating a world that you really resonate with, that you feel connected to, and that can bring you so much joy. And I've got so many creative, and how more creative I am, because I've always thought I was creative. As a graphic designer, I used to be in a band in my 20s. I worked for photographers. I did a lot of photography. I did lots of different creative things.
That's
I
awesome.
realized I'm creative in a different way. It's like I've got this creative energy that I need, like I just went on a course for like a short film, how to make a film. I'm constantly like podcasting. I've never done that. I talk to you guys. I've never done this. Because
Wow.
I don't really want to share my life with people. I feel my life is private, very private. And I had to share. I didn't have to share, but I was forced. I felt like forced to share my deep story, and that's not me. But I had to stand up and really take space. And I think maybe being the youngest of six, you just, I don't know, like I
Right.
didn't really want any. I just wanted to have a life and just have a quiet life, really.
Yeah.
I do have a quiet life here, but I'm doing all the things I wouldn't imagine, like learning lots of music and doing lots of singing. And I recorded a
Mhm.
song that came through when I was living in Bali, which is in my journal. And just
Wow.
all these things, like it's infinite possibilities. That's what I like to say. Infinite possibilities,
Oh yeah.
infinite opportunities. And um, and it's following your heart to those places that bring you joy. And yeah.
Wow. I I love that. Your answer, both of your answers were awesome, and I because it just speaks to the truth. Like none of us willingly choose, some of our hardest seasons. I look back at some of my most difficult moments. We don't choose them, right?
Right.
But so often, I just feel like those seasons really reveal, like you guys mentioned, they reveal our strengths, our truths, and like you said, Alice, the possibilities, right? Um, that we never would have encountered otherwise. So yeah, I think that is really amazing. I'm like so impressed by you guys. Um, so when you think about your life today, what feels most true for you now? You guys touched a little bit on things, but what feels more true for you now?
In kind of what sense? In just how we're living our lives, or
Yeah, just your lives, the choices you're making. Um, you had to go through such a dramatic identity shift.
Mhm.
I think sometimes it's hard to let go of what was, right? Um, we think that's the truth because it's all we can really envision. So I guess I'm just wondering, like, now that you have a little bit of perspective, what is more true?
yeah, I think for me, it's 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 delved so deeply into every aspect of me that now I can only be me
Yeah.
imperfectly and definitely imperfectly me. But it's really taken, all the experiences I've had, especially the ones I share in the book, and living in Bali and finding a new life and being determined to live a life where I'll be happy or find joy and peace. So I
Right.
think for me, it's like really I've had to delve so deeply. It's like now I'm only me. I'm just me, and it's okay being me. And I don't take the judgment. It's like putting out my book. I don't take the judgment of others. That is not me. That is everyone else's judgment. So it's
Right.
really like I can only be me. And that's my job. My job is to be me. In the widest sense of following what I love, and singing, and all the projects I want to do, and feeling alive with where I'm living and the people
Yeah.
I connect with, and really having purpose. My purpose is to support other women, and my purpose is to share my story to also support other women. And I just want to do that. So I guess it's given me a real deep sense of purpose. And yes, okay, so I don't have the amazing relationship. I haven't got that yet. But I'm friendly, hopeful that will happen soon. Um, but I guess the next person in life has to see me who I truly am. And
Right.
I'm not putting masks on and pretending, this is me. And and that's my truth. And I have to be in my truth because it comes out of my mouth. And it's not in a horrible way. It's just what I feel. And I could be wrong. It's not like being right or wrong. It's my
Right.
truth, you know. And so,
Yes.
people connect with me for who I am, or they don't. And that's fine. You know,
Right.
um, I'm busy doing my stuff, and doing the best I can. And that's enough.
Yeah. I think that is absolutely enough. That was really perfect what you said. What about you, Karina?
Yeah, I
Alice?
think like what you were just saying, Alice, about being me. Like I'm finding more of what being me is. Like of course there's still parts of me that are ingrained in me, right? Like the spending out time outside and going walking and reading books, all those things.
Right.
But still trying to figure out a lot of like what is me. Because yeah, it's still all fresh. um the the day after I resigned from my education job, um last school year, um there were only like 2 days left in the school year, and I had people who had known me for like almost 20 years go, well, ever since you made that announcement, you sound more like you. so so it's, yeah, I
Wow.
think, be yeah, still working on becoming me, but that was a really insightful thing that a person said who
Yeah.
I had known for those 20 years.
Yeah. Very, very insightful. And now look at you on live.
I know.
It's so great. Yeah. No, this is so awesome. Um,
Hmm.
I ask every woman in the series a version of this
Hmm.
question. So if you could say one thing to another woman who feels like life hasn't gone according to plan, um, what would it be? What would you tell her? Alice and then Karina.
Hmm. Yeah, well, I really do think that everything that happens to us happens for a reason, in
Hmm.
the sense of redirecting us to where we need to be. We don't know where that place is, so it's very scary. And it's going to the abyss, so to speak.
Hmm.
Uh, but rest assured, new things, when space is created, new things come into your life.
Hmm.
And I
Mm.
think there's something magical about that. We might not realize it at the time because we've got a lot of emotions and
Right.
mental clutter, but actually new bits, and we delve deeper into who we really are on every aspect, and become more alive, and we become more beautiful.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Hmm?
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
love that. I would follow you anywhere, Alice. That was perfect. Karina, what about you? What would you
um
tell someone?
I know I would tell people, okay, um when you're going through uncertainty, you need somebody to talk to, whether it's somebody professionally or a friend or just somebody, a colleague, somebody, because I kept it all inside. So you need
Right.
somebody to talk to. um,
Mhm.
Yeah, and then give it time. Like, don't do what I did where I kept it all inside and gave it way too much time. Um, yeah, you gotta talk to somebody. I have a friend though who did all her talking on AI when she was going through her divorce. So maybe it kind of sort of worked for her, but I would say more like a human connection is a little bit better.
Yeah. I have friends that have done that too. No, I think that is, you both gave such good advice. It is hard when you're in it, right? You don't see. I wrote a little bit about this today, or I think it was today where I had posted where we don't see ourselves out of something when we're in it. And that's a perfect example of like, we have to be able to talk to people who can give us a little perspective, um, so that we can overcome that and find our purpose, like Alice said. Um, I really want to thank you both. I never know what to expect when I get guests because no one knows each other, right? And so, but I always feel like now I'm going to get emotional. Especially you guys have just really touched me. Um, and I really appreciate you taking the time to come and share. Um, I think what stands out to me the most from this tonight was that neither of you had a roadmap, obviously, right? Um, you you didn't know exactly what would unfold, obviously, and you know you couldn't see the path ahead, um, but you kept taking that step, and I think that's what's so important is that we just move forward. Um, And I think that is an important reminder for all of us, and I really appreciate it. And
Mhm.
um, and just the rebuilding that it isn't about becoming necessarily someone else. It's about coming home to yourself, right? I know you touched on this, Alice. Um, so I just want to thank everybody for joining tonight. It was really awesome having everyone join live and enjoy the replay when it comes out. If so, I just want to let everybody know that if tonight's conversation resonated with you, I'd love for you to join us in the Worthy and Wild community. That's a space that exists because women are willing to tell their truth, like Karina and Alice, about their lives. And every one of you helps build that community. And so I really appreciate it. So please subscribe to Worthy and Wild and be sure to check out Alice and Karina's publications as well. I'll make sure that the links are for all three Substacks are in the replay notes. And thank you guys for spending part of your evening with us. And thank you again, Karina and Alice. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. It was really nice to meet you both.
You're welcome. Thank you, Lana.
Have a good night, you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Love
Thank
y'all.
you.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.